ऐसे सवाल थे जिसमें हमारे आदिवासियों को बहुत दोयम दर्जे का समझे जाने लगा था और उनको क्राफ्ट के लेवल तक ही रखा जाता था। उनको कंटेम्प्रेरी आर्ट सीन में वो इंक्लूड कर सका। तो उसका एक अहम रोल ये भी था, बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट रोल था कि उन्होंने हमारे ट्राइबल आर्ट को और ट्राइबल आर्टिस्ट को वो एक लेवल दे दिया, वो एक प्लेटफॉर्म दे दिया जो अर्बन आर्टिस्टों को मिला हुआ था। तो मैं ये समझता हूँ कि उसका जो एक योगदान है, कंट्रीब्यूशन है, ये बड़ा अहम कंट्रीब्यूशन था और ये हमारे समकालीन कला के लिए भी एक स्ट्राइड साबित हुआ, एक लंबी छलांग साबित हुई, क्योंकि उससे पहले ट्राइबल आर्टिस्ट जो है ना इंडिया के बाहर जा पाए और इंडिया में भी बड़े लेजर नोन थे। तो उसके बाद एक इतना अच्छा उनको एक मौका मिला कि बहुत सारे मध्य प्रदेश के ट्राइबल आर्टिस्ट बाहर निकले हिंदुस्तान से और पूरे हिंदुस्तान में भी फैले और उनको एक अच्छी जगह मिली। मैं समझता हूँ ये बड़ा अच्छा कंट्रीब्यूशन उसका था।
हमारे पास इस तरह का if we have the freedom to do what we like, and that was the idea because we became independent, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं? And I think that exploration is the basis, that is the main issue, and that brought us to discover whatever that was done. And I don't know it was a singular effort. I think it was in some way became a collective effort. कि वो 5 अलग-अलग या 6 एक अम्बेडकर नाम के टीचर थे, वो he was not a trained artist, he was a commercial artist. He had a studio in Bombay और 2 महीने आते थे, चले जाते थे और उन्होंने हमें आर्ट हिस्ट्री पढ़ाया।
Could you Atul tell us that what contribution as a student and as a professional gave this Bombay city to you?
Bombay city.
The
city was always somehow there, and one of the things, when I was looking at a lot of art from the West, I felt that as a young artist, you feel you want to be contemporary and you want to do something which is of the present time. And I must say I was heavily sort of inspired or even influenced by American pop artists, not Andy Warhol or Lichtenstein, but mainly Jasper Johns and Robert Rauschenberg. And I felt this art has come very much from the city. And during my JJ days, we would kind of try to attempt those kind of things, hoardings and cinema posters and the graffiti on the wall. My journey, a lot of things, actually my major artistic or a creative problem which I would resolve from Ghatkopar to Viti, in a local train when I would go, and what you see from both the side on the station and passing the city, all those things are very, very, I felt tremendous energy and I felt very inspired. In fact, on Sundays I would sometimes just take a train because the train is empty and you can kind of really move around and there. And sometimes even I have done that on a platform number 4 in a Parel station, which is always empty. Some beggars, some stray people, one dog is moving in like that. So just go and sit there. I don't know, somehow it would kind of inspire me, that kind of thing. But I was not aware that this is something major is happening here. I become aware about the city and all for the first time in a very strong way when I returned from Paris. I never went abroad, and in 91, 92 I was a French government scholar. So first time I went outside city of Bombay was Paris, and I saw so much there, from pre-Renaissance to post-modern, everything. And when I returned, of course, I was also totally confused and baffled. I called myself a figurative painter, and within the figurative genre, such a profound work had happened. I said, it's all, whatever I was doing was useless. So it took me almost 3 years to come to terms with what I should be doing. But one thing I felt that I was craving to come back, and the going to western suburbs or going to town and towards Thane and all this thing, and my friends are everywhere.
During my education in BFA, I think it was quite a liberal thing where very few of us, so all of us used to gang up and go on these study tours. So it was compulsory that we go and visit Shantiniketan, Bhopal, Baroda, and possibly Delhi. And this was, I think this is really opens you up from coming from this vantage point of Bangalore. How do you look at the world of contemporary art practice happening? This was the time that we really figured out this big bad world of the art scene. And when we went to Baroda, we realized that we were super duds. We hadn't seen anything. Our artistry was all wrong. And the best thing that could happen to us is the archive in Baroda. And the people who set up the archive was people like Sheikh Bhai, Fari Musar, and others. And Deepak Bhai was in the archive at that time. So here was this, and we made it a point that we spent 3 or 4 hours in the archive. I think that is what that has made us what we are today. It's because of this archive. So when I got back from Baroda, the first thing I did was to set up an archive in my college.
And ask one more question to the extension of the question, that from Baroda we heard about the narrative and narrative art. And this question, Atul and Sheikh Saab also, I'll ask both of them, but Atul was also practicing the narrative. And Sheikh Saab was, pioneer of the narration in Baroda along with his colleague. Can Sheikh Saab put a light on what is the narrations and how it flourished and how it becomes center in Baroda?
See, I had this old habit to raid studios of other artists, both in India. When I was a young student, I used to go to Bulabai Memorial Institute, and there I even met Hussain, and Hussain opened my first show. Anyway, but in England also I did the same thing. I used to barge into studios of English artists who, they used to hate it, but I remember that later on they admitted that they were very happy that somebody came without, notice. But anyway, the story is that here in India, we found ourselves in a situation where there was one factor was that it was difficult to function as an individual artist. It was quite expensive to hold your own show. So one of the reasons was to have a group show. Now for having a group show, you have to collect people, you have to have few people around. And if you remember, in the 70s, there were a number of group shows.
Yes.
First, it was Bhupen, Chatpar, Nagji and I, who had a show in Jahangir Gallery in 72, I think. Then there was an exhibition in which Vivan and others were even there, 10 of us, with Balbir Singh Karti, a diverse group of people, but we all got together and we had a show in Rabindra Bhavan. Then there was an exhibition which called Place for People. 6 of us were showing too. What I'm trying to point out is the fact that a dialogue had opened among artists. It was internal, and we were all questioning. And in the process of questioning, we found ourselves